Hello everyone. Today I have one of the coolest pieces that I've ever had to date. It is a Shirogorov full custom neon. And before we jump into the knife itself, for those who don't know, the Shirogorov knives are out of Russia and they come in roughly three main different levels. The first one is the production knife, the second one is the custom division knife, and the third one is the full custom knife. And this falls under the third tier of a full custom knife, which is the rarest and the most sought after piece out of the lineup. So, you know, there are a lot of nuances and in betweens in terms of how Shirogorov names their tiers. But roughly, the production knives are ones that are made in mass and sold at, of course, the lowest price of the lineup. The custom division are ones that have a little slightly, there's better finishing, but better touches, more milling, more work done on it, and are generally done in, or almost always done in limited numbers. So they're all the custom divisions are numbered, and so that makes them rarer than the productions as well, and the prices are a step higher. And then we have a very big jump from the custom division to the full custom, and this full custom is made by Sergey himself. Um, so it is a very special piece, and throughout my collecting, I've always wanted a knife that is lightweight, small. It's got to look dressy and fancy. It's still got to really hold up well to use. It's going to be sharp. It won't scratch easily. That whole combination really sums up in one knife, which is this neon right here. And when Sergey does his full customs, you get a cloth of it. And the easiest way to determine a full custom from other lines of knives is his pivot. If you notice, it's a duckbill shaped pivot, whereas the production and custom divisions will have a single line through, while this has the duckbill on both sides. He also, puts the duckbill on his cloth, which is very neat. And you'll also get a coin, which I believe he started doing this recently, maybe 2-3 years ago, where he names, this is the Neon Duo configuration, which is, my favorite configuration out of all of the Neons he's released, mainly because of the blade shape and the inlay and the vents. So I'll slot the coin right back in to place. This is where it usually goes in. Let's talk about the knife. So this knife has an S125V blade steel, which is extremely hard, and very, it holds up very, very well. His frame is done in titanium and carbo quartz with vents, which I really love. And this has been done on both sides, and it looks amazing. One of the ways to spot, why I like this Neon Duo is because of this blade shape itself. The vent right here, the jimping on top of it is just magnificent. It has kind of like a stonewash mirror. Oops, I kind of put a mark on there, but let's see. So you can see that, there's this very lovely milling going on top, and then the blade kind of curves in like a V, and there's another layer right here, which is another V. I think this is all just so cool. And the switch runs not all the way to the end, it ends just right here, which makes it look like it's a little bit downward curved, and it is so cool. The flats itself is satin polished on both sides. The Shirogorov marking is at the end. This is their logo. And inside, let's see if I can get this right. You see the date, the build date in 2019, and Sergey's signature. So, a lot of you may wonder, how different is it from a custom division and a full custom? And full disclosure, I have not owned. Actually, I've owned a custom division and a full custom Neon, but it was from maybe a year or two ago. So, roughly around the same time this was built. But the full custom runs on what Sergey calls a double row roller bearing system, which is signified inside the frame. If you can see, there's a little marking here. And what it essentially is instead of having regular bearings, and this is what, I found this only in Sergey's knives, in Shirogorov knives. The roller bearings they're like a barrel, short rod barrels, which they line up all around the pivot instead of having regular ball bearing pivots. And there are, different levels of bearings used by the Shirogorov guys. So it tends to be the production ones have a single row regular bearing system. The custom division can step it up. Some of them have multi-row bearing systems, so there's maybe 3 rows of the ball bearings to make it smoother. Custom divisions usually jump up to roller bearings, but there's a single roll around it. But this one has the multi-row or double row roller bearing system, which is supposed to make it the most stable. They've also done some testing on it. I don't know too much detail on it, but I believe you can ask the guys over at Shirogorov, and they'll give a much more in-depth explanation of why the roller bearings are very solid. Way to go. So now that we're talking about the bearings, I think I should jump into the action itself. The action on this full custom feels like it flips a little bit harder than both the custom division and the production that I had. I'm not sure why. It might be just this particular piece because it is handmade by Sergey. And in terms of fall shut, it doesn't fall shut like the regular bearing system. But I much prefer having this type of smoothness. It's really hydraulic how it opens and closes. It just feels good when you open it and just kind of close it slowly. It's just perfectly silky smooth, which a lot of bearing action can have like hiccups along the way, but this one is just smooth all the way through. This particular knife also has a detent ramp. Sergey puts a detent ramp on a lot of his knives these days. So right now, if you close the knife, it gets stuck a little bit on the detent ramp, and you can easily push it over to close the knife. I think it's maybe some sort of a safety system as well, but I like it. It's very nice to close. Absolutely zero stick. I know a lot of people who own productions or custom divisions have had Shiro stick. This has zero stick. Just perfect. Gorgeous. It's just so fun to play with. And you know, I've had a lot of knives come through the collection, and this one is more muffled, more silent than the other ones, which is very good. You know, the loud ones that you play all day, they can hurt your ear, they annoy other people, but this one is just perfect, silent, you know, very classy. I think we should go into the details of the knife itself, such as the centering, which is dead perfect center. And I love how there's a little cup just to support this tip. It comes right up all the way until the edge. So you can, you know, it really packs a lot of edge inside a small frame. One of the best that I've seen. You know, you get the most amount of blade in the smallest frame possible. And let's check out the pivot itself. There's I believe, a Mokutai. I have to bring out the koi again, or Timascus pivot ring. Wonderfully done. And let's check out all the milling on the carbo quartz. And for those of you who don't know, carbo quartz is a type of carbon fiber with quartz weaved into it. And this gets really expensive. I think they're really hard to come by, and they're just as expensive as Timascus. So, you know, a sheet can go for hundreds of dollars just to get a sheet of carbo quartz, or maybe more. I'm not very sure. But a piece like this is very expensive. Check out how the milling was done. You see all the milling lines. This carbon fiber is almost kind of like a sleeve on top, if you notice. It kind of wraps around the frame on top. And here is where Sergey marks the blade steel S125V. And I love how, you know, you have subtle milling lines all around, and you can see the blade through the holes. Just absolutely gorgeous. You know, checking out from the back. A nice area for you to put your finger in when you're flipping. Lovely landing. The flipper tab also has a milling lines inside. The back spacer is gorgeous. Really, you know, tough looking, badass even. And a little fluting on the end. Really nice touch. Look at all the different chamfers and angles he puts on here. I just love how this looks. So many details throughout the knife. And a nice lanyard hole that's hidden away. So there's no ugly hole in the side of the frame, like a lot of knives out there. The pocket clip is beautiful. Another Timascus or / Mokutai piece, which has been beautifully sculpted, and there's a lot of milling inside and polished on the top and the sides. And then going forward, there's also the screws of the frame are also duck billed. I'm not sure why there's none on this side, but there is one here. So That's quite interesting. I did not notice that at first. There's no screw here, but there is a screw head, or end even, here. Well, check out the lock bar. Nice scalloping here, and a little bit on the inside as well. It looks very good. There's even a little, scalloping out here as well. I believe it would make the pocket clip, very easy to pocket, and also a nice area to support the lock bar insert. Yeah, it flips really hard. Well, I hope, I've done this knife even a little bit of justice by having a look and sharing the video. Something like this, I think I really want to share with the community. It's such a lovely piece that, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Really beautiful, perfectly done knife. Perfect, perfect. All right, I'll leave it at that. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I read all of the comments. It's really, really nice when you have like the community voice in and, hearing your thoughts. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching.